When I came here, obviously the plaza, it was called City Plaza, was here. When I was hired, I was taken over, that's why I went over to the council chambers, and that's where they voted to make me city manager. What was interesting is there really wasn't at that time a building designated as City Hall.
The tower, the eighth floor building, that tower was actually built in 73 to 75, and it's about 90,000 square feet roughly in that building.
Yeah, I remember this building when it was shiny and new, and it was a skyscraper in downtown Mesa. And you know, the community was just very impressed with itself to have a building with this height right on the corner of Center and Main Street. At the top of the building, there used to be a restaurant. There was a lot of high-end businesses, a lot of law firms, and other, people that this was kind of the exclusive address for Mesa for years. And then Mr. Luster, the previous city manager, bought this building for a song.
So they bought this building from the developers in 1989 and then renovated it to be the city's offices. And the section of the building that was over here was actually a bank. You could tell when you walked into that space. We had our human resource and an economic development staff in there, and you could tell when you walked in, it was big vaulted ceiling. It was clearly a bank.
So we always kind of had this awkward, using this old bank building as office space. It didn't quite ever work.
There was this two-story solid wall on the corner of the most significant corner of Mesa. And yet across the street, we built this amazing jewel of the Mesa Art Center. But on the other side was really this very understated, not very impressive, not very engaging. Remember, we had a wall. Literally, it looked like a protection wall. And then having the most significant architectural features on the corner were solid materials. There was no windows.
And it stood that way until last summer when we took a wrecking ball to the old annex that was over here.
It was not an interesting building at all. And so the opportunity, frankly, to redo all this, to tear down that, attachment to the plaza. People didn't realize how significant this corner was until this building was built.
So I think for several years, people have kind of been suggesting, number one, how do we increase the presence of the city in downtown? There's been so much investment in downtown. The city ought to be a part of that, right? The city ought to be a major participant in that and be contributing to that. So this was a great project to do that, for the city to make a big statement that we believe in downtown. And by the way, we want you to know where the City Hall is. A lot of times people were confused when we'd invite them to meetings and they'd say, tell me again where you are.
People would ask, where's City Hall? And it's like, well, are you looking for the offices or are you looking for where the council meets? It was the offices, the plaza, and then it was across the street, the council chambers. We knew one thing, the chambers were very dated, very dark, didn't have a lot of light. Something significant needed to happen at the chambers. And so we were just trying to explore, well, what would that look like? I
was elected to council in 1996, so I served one term from 96 to 2000. And so I logged plenty of time in the old council chambers.
Where we have our meetings on Thursdays, we're down in the basement literally, and then where we bring the public in and do some of the most significant work of the city council, it was, in a nice, large area, but it was very dark. Even the outside, it didn't present itself as a significant gathering place, a significant, prominent place where the business of the city was being conducted.
The location is where it is, and it will continue to be a very functional building. It's still adjacent, to ASU, very functional for the city to continue to operate it. But, and I have fond memories of 14 years of city council meetings in that building. But I think that's part of why I'm so excited about this new Chambers. It's dramatically better.
Main and Center needed to be the location for what I would call the gift to Mesa, which is the new City Hall. Well, I think what we came to conclusion was that Mesa needed to up its game, if you would, right? We were working very hard at changing Mesa's own perception of itself, that it was a great, smaller community that grew up in the shadows of Phoenix. It now had arrived, and we needed to showcase who we are. This project allows us to do that. So when we started talking about the design of this building, the concept of light and transparency was really important.
So you see all the glass we have to create the transparency, and it becomes then the seat of our government.
Because we recognize that this is a building where we do the work of the people, and we really wanted to symbolically talk about it, both from the perspective of transparency, of seeing what's happening inside, but we also wanted it to be a place where it could emit light back out into the community. It's intentional that it goes both ways, right? We're sending light out and it glows at night. We've put lighting on the eyebrow with the building, on the side of the building, from the inside of the building, along the stairs in the building. So it's really intended to be, if you would, the beacon for Mesa. So first of all, this staircase, when we knew we were going to have a second floor council chambers, we wanted to highlight the staircase, not bury it somewhere. You know, even the terracotta, right, as you look at it, was intentionally selected.
So the inspiration for the design was important for us to be connected to Mesa's past. So some of the materials, the terracotta panels, harken back to Lehigh brick.
You know, the desert colors, the red mountain that we have. So it was intentional to kind of feel like we are in that environment. Even the way the council chambers is built up on the second floor with the glass and then the ceiling having open windows, right? It's intended to be, again, emphasis on light. I think of it like a jewel box.
The crown jewel or jewel on top of the chamber proper kind of emphasizes that. You can really see it at night. Maybe not so much during the day, but really prevalent at a nighttime location.
Even the artwork. So you'll see a sculpture. You'll see paintings.
There's also a digital wall inside the lobby space that allows a digital art displayed.
The building itself, I think, is artistic, but we have both very obvious intentional public art and an art that just kind of fits inside the building itself.
I think one of my favorite parts of the building is the idea of the indoor-outdoor relationships. What's happening on the outside of the building invites you inside.
So the intention was to allow or encourage people to have that easy connectivity, right? So that whether they're in the plaza or that they can come, you know, it's very connected, it's seamless. I think when I walk in here every time, the thing that always is stunning is just the height of the ceilings, right? It feels very open. We worked very hard to make it feel more elegant and lift up the value of what happens in this community, what happens in this building. And I think the high ceilings and the light that comes in really kind of helps us amplify that purpose. Well, I think it's unique to have the opportunity to work to build a city hall, right? A lot of city halls last for decades, right? And I think I'm fortunate that the opportunity and the ability to take on this project while I'm city manager is a great blessing.
So one of the things I'm so proud of this building is the way that we've got the city logo, you know, front and center. We've got City Hall right on the side of the building. It's such a beautiful, inviting building. The future generations of Mesa kids, when they come downtown to go to Mary Main Street or to go to the MAC or for whatever reason that brings them down here, they're going to say, Mom and Dad, I want to go in that building.
I think that this building will be enduring for generations because I think it, like great architecture, it's inviting you to participate in the building. It's intended to be an invitation to come in and learn and participate. But it's also intended to shine a light to help guide and provide support for others. So I think through all generations, right, that I hope this building stands as kind of that symbol.
And there's going to be, zero question in the minds of our young people where you go to interact with Mesa City government.
I hope that they really do see this as a gift to the community, and that by seeing this building coming inside, it lifts them up and saying, hey, I'm proud to be in Mesa. This is something, it makes me feel, very loyal to and buy into that Mesa's really a great place to live. So we want them to feel like it's theirs and that it is a significant opportunity to really elevate Mesa and kind of demonstrate what a great city it is.